All right, should we move on to the next question? Do you want to do the next two?
Yeah. So we were at. Should I do the one? Let's see.
Like John
John Freeze.
Freeze.
Okay, this is a hefty one. Okay. It says, thanks for the chance to ask a question. As a Buddhist who is open to rebirth and liberation from rebirth being true, I'm regularly frustrated at what seems to be dogmatic scientific materialism among socialists, including the DSA, Jacobin, and Millennial Socialist Podcast Zone. I'm wondering if some of y'all at TRN who may be open to some form of rebirth and ancestral spirit world based on your own traditional religious practices run into a similar problem. Are there examples of Native American or indigenous movements that have tried to resolve that tension? Okay. Oh, yeah, this is an internal conversation we're having. In short, yes, leftists definitely like push back on us and like really like are blatantly anti-Indian in the way they like totally discard and disregard like our way of life, right? And we don't even consider it necessarily like spirituality or a religion, but like they really try to claim that we're like ahistorical or amaterial and like because of our beliefs and because of our way of life that have like literally been materially caretaking the land for centuries. And so in short, yeah, we definitely like experience that kind of dogmatism from leftists and it sucks for sure. Also, at the same time, I know I'm not necessarily interested in sharing my cultural beliefs or practices with non-native people. And I don't think that we should have to in order for them to just respect it. You want to expand on that, Nick?
Yeah, I think part of this question comes from, I think, it's just an observation that I've had. And my friend Jeremy, I was actually hanging out with him. He's a Dakota guy from Yankton, or he's Ihonktua. And he was like, we were kind of talking about this and like how like oftentimes like what people think are indigenous problems are actually just like white people problems. And he's like it's because white people are the most assimilated people in this country and on this land, and they act like we're assimilated or that everything needs to be conformed to like their worldview when they've like foregone any kind of ancestral ties to the places that they're from, even though they're incredibly European in how they behave and act. They've literally created a new identity for themselves that they've all assimilated into. They all speak English. They all, they assimilated into whiteness as kind of this homogenous whatever, and they expect everything like in it, to kind of congeal to that reality. And so what this is like, they're just playing a culture war, whatever, and saying that Marxism and scientific socialism is, atheist or whatever. And it's like, yeah, maybe like Marx was, but like most Marxists aren't. And just because you experience this in the United States doesn't mean it's a reality. Or just because you experience that as a white American doesn't mean it's a reality for the rest of us. So you're just being chauvinistic, because I would say that scientific socialism and materialism and Marxism actually quite neatly align and complement and inform my understanding of indigeneity and what it means to be Wolakota, and Lakol Wichon, the Lakota way of life. And so I don't see them as a contradiction, but I see a lot of people try to like make a distinction between them. And, one thing that's always kind of troubling to me is whenever we do anything as Red Nation, even just at a community event, that's not overtly political, there's always like a prayer. And it's not, it's turned into a prayer because of Christians. You guys did that to us, not us. But we're just acknowledging the things that are seen and unseen, and acknowledging that there's something more beyond ourselves and having respect and reverence for that. And that's, I think, like you guys, like, according to this kind of chauvinistic tradition, you guys needed a freaking telescope to like figure out like that there's craters on the moon or whatever it is, and it's like, great. I actually really love astronomy and all those things, but it doesn't like change what we know and what we have known for millennia. It just adds a lot more texture and context to what we have known. And you go anywhere else in the world, like Brazil, with some of the most militant, vibrant social movements, and they all pray and they all sing. they allow each group to express themselves. And so this kind of like really kind of reactionary atheism, I'm not against atheists, but this kind of dogmatic atheism, that's what it is. You know, it's just repackaging Puritanism, right? It's repackaging like puritanical Christianity and fundamentalism into just like, I don't know, just chauvinism and racism. And I just don't have time. I don't really care anymore. It's like, if you don't get it, like that you're a colonizer and you're being colonial, then you know, you have a lot to work on. And that's why the kind of revolutionary decolonial movement isn't just about like changing, like, yeah, we need to figure out how people are going to get fed and everything, but it also has to be a cultural revolution and a change of that superstructure and how ideology is practiced and enacted, because the United States isn't, you know, it's 5% of the world's population, right? Just because you're on top of the imperialist hierarchy doesn't mean that your views are more valid, especially as a made up white American. Like that's all I got to say about that. And I'm not going to perform my spiritualism for you. So
Yeah. One really profound thing you said to me once, Nick, was that majority of Marxists in the world are spiritual or religious. Like, and he gave the example of I think he said Fidel Castro's men. They were all Catholic and they prayed, and they were some of the most successful revolutionaries in world history, right? Same goes for all of like the vibrant socialist movements throughout the global south. A lot of them are not secular or atheists. Like, majority of them are not at all. And so, yeah, I know that for sure. Marxism has helped me understand, and like, not understand, but like it just aligns very neatly with like my way of life as a Tewa woman, you know, as a Pueblo person. And then I also remind people, like, Marx and Engels were specifically looking at Native communities to develop their theories of communism, right? Like, they were looking at the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, they were looking at Pueblo people, they were looking at Kanaka Maoli people. And I'm always reminding people that, like, our perceived, like, spirituality or religion, like, is also our governance system and our economic system, and is also how we, like, maintain our material reality. Like, and to claim it's, like, not materialist is